Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Are you an imam, teacher, or student of the Quran who study beginning grammar but find it hard to understand what you read from the Arabic text? I'd like to help you, inshallah. I'm hosting a 2-day Quranic Arabic intensive for intermediate students, online and in person. The intensive will help you gain 2 things. Number 1, awareness of where you are in your learning journey through an extensive study map. I will expose you to the topics that you will need to learn in order to close the gap of reading. Arabic grammar is an ocean, and without clear direction, you may spend your learning time in the wrong places. Number 2, exposure to grammar beyond the fragmented rules and simple nominative and verbal sentences. When I began learning, I focused a lot on memorizing different rules, rehearsing them in the grocery store line, writing them down on pieces of paper. But I struggled, even with vocabulary and a dictionary, I struggled with reading the Quran directly from the Arabic text without the support of the English translation. One day when I went to Umrah in 2013, a sheikh clarified for me the reason of learning the rules. It's not for isolated memorization. You have to learn how several rules flow and blend together to help form the eloquence that we see in the Quran. The nominative sentence in its base form won't do it for you, and you cannot stop there. You have to see how the nominative sentence appears when rules are stacked on top of it. Let us take an example from Surah Al-Asr, one of my favorite surahs. As we look at Surah Al-Asr, the first 2 verses, we will unpack the grammar as well as some of the meaning. What you notice right away is that the English translations, most of them, and this is nothing against the translator, the English translations cannot contain the meaning and depth that's communicated in the Quran. And shortly, with particles, with one letter, there is a lot of meaning and depth and content and substance that cannot be communicated in English, or it will take you to write a paragraph in English in order to be able to communicate what's being communicated in Arabic. So here, as we see, the simple translation, I took this from Sahih International, is by time, indeed, mankind is in loss. For the benefit of the intermediate student, what I want to show you offhand is 1, that there's things missing in English, and then 2, how you can identify the simple nominal sentence here in this in this verse here in verse 2. Because what happens is we learn that first simple nominative sentence, the subject and the predicate. And I remember my first time I learned Allahu Akbar, Allah being the subject and Akbar being the predicate or the information for the subject. And I just so elated. I ran to the Quran and I'm thinking I'm going to just start reading the Quran. And I come to find out that in its most basic form, the simple nominative sentence is not occurring often, and that there are other rules that are layered on top of it. And as I became more aware of those rules, then my ability to read and form analysis grew. Here, I want to point out, I'm gonna do this a little bit more simply than I would if we had more time. But here, by time, indeed, mankind is in loss. So in English, the only word that signifies emphasis is indeed here. In the Arabic, these 2 verses are together loaded with emphasis. So what I have here highlighted in red, 1, 2, 3. All of these are emphasizers. They make emphatic what Allah is saying in this verse. So we're missing that. But let's unpack this. Let's strip off everything that we can to bring it down to a simple nominative sentence. So what I've done is I removed verse 1, and then I remove verse 1, and I'll take inna away and the lam here. So we bring it down almost as simple as we can get it here. It becomes al-insanu fi khusrin. So if you remember the nominative senses or the jumlatun ismiyatun, the difference between the jumlatun ismiyatun and the jumlatun fi'aliyatun, the nominal sentence and the verbal sentence, is that the nominal sentence begins with a noun, right? And the noun, when it's unaffected by anything, a particle or a verb, it's always in the marfu' or the nominative case. So that's why we have the dhamma. Al-insan, the human being. And then here, it's not just a one-word khabar. You have different categories for the khabar, but I like to categorize them as 5. This is one of the 5. This would be a prepositional phrase. So in English, we have the helper verb is. In Arabic, we don't. So normally in simple translations, we would take the subject, the human being, place the word is, and then place the khabar or the predicate after it. So that's how we have the human being here is in loss. Okay. Al-insanu fi khusrin. So this is your nominative sentence, right? Inside of verse 2. But you wouldn't know that unless you can strip away some of the particles that have been assigned to the verse to add meaning and add emphasis. Okay, so here we go. Al-insanu fi khusrin. The human being is in loss. Now, I want you to look at this. This is a dhamma. Okay. All right. So now, what else is added to the verse? All right. So the lam. Okay. You see this lam here? If we want to add this lam is normally added to the beginning. Okay. Here you see it at the on the khabar, but I'll tell you why. So here, if we want to add some emphasis, we'll say certainly or indeed the human being is in loss, as the translation states right here. Indeed, mankind is in loss. We will add the lam. It's called lamul ibtada'i, the lam of the beginning. It's a lam of emphasis. So we will say lal insanu fi khusrin. Certainly, the human being is in loss. So this is still a nominative sentence, a jumlatun ismiyatun, but we've added the lam of emphasis. So the lam of emphasis will be added to the beginning. We still have this insanu as the mubtada, the subject. And then we have fi khusrin as the khabar. So we would still add to our sentence, we had the human being is in loss. We just simply say, certainly the human being is in loss. Allah adds emphasis. Okay? Now, there's another particle of emphasis, and that's inna. Allah adds inna to the sentence. And if the lam is there, both of these particles cannot come together. So this lam is pushed to the khabar. Okay, it's pushed to the khabar. So we have innal insana. Now you notice that the dhamma, when inna was added, became fatha. So I'm not going to cover these rules right now, but just showing you how layers of rules and particles being added to the simple nominative sentence may shroud it for you. But if you become aware of some of the rules and what happened and some of the effects of them, then you be able to retain more of what you're reading. So we have innal insana. So what does it say? Certainly the human being. Certainly the human being. Then that lam is called here lamul muzahlaqa, the lam that skates or that's pushed back to the khabar. La fi khusrin. Certainly the human being is certainly in loss. Another emphasis here that was not communicated in our first translation that we had. Innal insana la fi khusrin. Certainly, the human being is certainly in loss. One more thing, and this is a bonus. If we look at verse 1 and verse 2, in English, we won't obviously know how they're connected. As in English, we read progressively. So if we say, by time, indeed mankind is in loss, and we can infer that we would say, okay, as time passes by, the human being is in loss. But we're missing a lot of meaning here. So this wow, this is called a harful qasam. It's a particle of swearing. And what is said is that the statement is, it's like when we used to say, wallahi, when you really want somebody to understand what you're saying and believe what you're saying. You know how in some of our cultural vernacular, we may swear on our mother, right? I swear on my mama, I swear on my father. Well, this here is Allah swearing. I swear by time. Okay, so this is an emphasis. I swear by time. Wal asr, and even the word asr, time, just translating it directly from Arabic to English as time, doesn't do justice to the word. Wal asri, I swear by time. Now, whenever you introduce the harful qasam, the particle of swearing, Allah is pointing at something, and then He gives the answer, what's affected by what He's pointing at. So He's pointing to time, and then you'll be looking for what is called jawabul qasam, the answer of the swearing. The result of what He's swearing at will say, I swear by time that this will be the result of it. I swear by time, innal insana lafi khusrin. So Allah's, I swear by time, as time squeezes man. Circumstances squeeze man. Certainly the human being is in loss, is in a state of loss. So here we have, I swear by time, indeed the human being is certainly in loss. So much power, strength, and emphasis missed totally in the English translation. So when you have the harful qasam, the statement wal asr, you'll be looking for a signifier of what is the answer of the swearing. And inna is one of them. And there are others. And once you learn the rule, then you'll be able to make the connections. So inshallah, as we ramp up for our 2-day Quranic Arabic intensive, we will begin to start to do grammatical analysis of the Quran and of Hadith. If you are ready to reignite your learning and transform your connection with the Quran, inshallah, click the link in the description to register. You can access it online, or if you're in Houston, Texas, please come and sit with us at Masjid al-Quran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
كتاب أحكمت آياته ثم فصلت من لدن حكيم خبير ألا تعبدوا إلا الله